Our learning goals include defining the law of demand and distinguishing between demand and quantity demanded. The success criteria for students would be, I can define the law of demand, I know the difference between demand and quantity demanded, and I can graph a demand curve. Now let's begin with the 3 basic economic questions. Those questions include what to produce, what gets made, how to produce, how does it get made, and for whom to produce, who gets it once it's made. Now let's go back and answer those questions. What to produce? Consumers decide what to produce. How to produce? Producers are trying to find the most efficient way to produce and maximize profits. For whom to produce, or who gets it once it's made, it's the consumers, the ones that are willing and able to buy it at the various prices. Now let's take a look at consumers versus producers. You got consumers who demand high quality goods at a low price, and producers who supply goods and services by producing them as efficiently as possible to earn this maximum amount of profits. This looks sort of similar to our circular flow model where we talk about the households and the producers, but we're going to start referring to those households and businesses or firms. We're going to start referring to them as demanders and suppliers. So demanders, of course, want goods at a low price, where suppliers want to sell at a high price, basically. Now let's take a question here. Supply and demand in a market economy. You got your consumers, which are your demanders, and your producers, which are your suppliers. I want you guys to think about how those two interact with each other. I also have a video for us to watch. It's called The Hudsucker Proxy. It's a movie, and in this particular movie, what happens is they hire somebody. You guys get to see the whole beginning and end from the entrepreneur creating an idea to the production of the idea, selling the price, marketing, the supply, and all of that. And then you get to see what we're focusing on, the demand. You look at the demand aspect, and I want you guys to pay specific attention to how the prices changes once those demand changes. Now, once you guys have looked at the slide or viewed the video, I want you to go back to thinking about demand versus the law of demand. What is demand? It is how much consumers are willing and able to purchase at a given price. Those keywords are willing and able. The law of demand tells us that as the price goes up, consumers' quantity demanded goes down. Or consumers want to buy things at the lowest price to make the most of their limited resources. We notice that the law of demand has an inverse relationship to price and quantity. So when I say inverse, I mean when one goes up, the other one goes down. When price increases, the quantity demand decreases. When the price decreases, the quantity demanded increases. Now let's take this law of demand and this inverse relationship and let's talk about it in a graph. Let's visualize the law of demand. And that's what we do in economics. We visualize the law of demand. We're going to take the price, we're going to take the demand, and we're going to graph it. Now I want you to take it and try on your own. Hopefully your graph turned out like this. If your graph is like this, then it's done correctly. This illustrates the law of demand. As you can see, there's an inverse relationship between price and quantity. The higher the price, the lower the quantity. Now, what does this demand curve actually show us? It actually shows us that all of the quantities and all the goods and services that resources are willing to buy at various prices. So what does it mean again? The quantity demanded at a specific price. Here's some of the vocabulary words that we will be reviewing that you guys kind of need to know for this lesson. And if you get stuck on their practice, you can view ACDC Econ video that's included on here. Once we finish this, we're going to start with our next lesson. We're going to put supply in the mix.